Good morning from Bristol. I am just taking a little walk into the city centre. It is ridiculously early in the morning, but I usually have some morning duties for church. I'm a Catholic, I serve daily mass. I'm the only one at my church who can really do it every day. So I don't normally like to absent myself unless it's really necessary. I don't have mass this morning, so I'm on my way into town with the idea of doing some dawn photography. Sunrise is a great time, autumn's a great time to do a bit of shooting in the city centre, but of course I didn't plan my times properly, and I forgot that sunrise was a little bit later than I was banking on, so it looks like my dawn photography is going to become more pre-dawn / night photography. But the city's quiet, so let's see what we can get. The reason I can't really stay around till after sunrise is because I'm actually heading out for the day. I'm going down first of all to Taunton for the model railway exhibition, RailEx. There's quite a few models which I've seen but not really done justice to photographing, or been at exhibitions and thought, oh, I'd really like to see that, and then didn't get the chance to see it, didn't get around to it. So hopefully that should be quite productive. And then just to make life a little bit more interesting, I am planning on leaving there a little bit early today, because I'm then heading to the West Somerset Railway for the Ivatt Twilight event. One of their locomotives is doing a short, well, the main reason I'm going is we've got one of their locos is doing a short freight working with a collection of milk wagons. Again, it's quite rare. I think they've pulled together some wagons from other heritage railways that have kind of been on loan for a little while to assemble this train. There have been a few events, photo charters of this train during the year, but they've always clashed with other things that I'm doing. So the loco bar's out at the end of October, the boiler ticket expires, and it's in a nice weathered look, which again, it's a bit more akin to the way these locos would have looked during the 60s, which is the sort of scene that we're representing. So it should be a little bit more interesting and unique. Again, a lot of heritage railways, they tend to keep their locos in very pristine condition, which is great for the fare-paying passenger. It looks very nice, but as an enthusiast and as an historical photographer, it's nice to be able to capture a scene that's a little bit more historically accurate, and that's what we're going to aim for. So hopefully we'll see how we go. It's a bit of a long trek by bus, and with tight timings, I have to admit I'm slightly concerned. The last time I did a bit of a trek by bus was heading down to see the Mayflower, and that was a bit of a disaster actually. I missed a bus, got on the wrong bus, and ended up missing one of my shots that I wanted. So anyway, holding thumbs, praying that today pans out well and successfully, and we should hopefully have some interesting shots as a result. So I've just walked past the building works for the banana bridge here in Bristol. Interesting to see what a building site looks like when it's all dormant and nobody's working for it. So there we go. Got a few snaps into that. Something a little bit different to add to my arsenal, my portfolio of photographs. Certainly a lot of traffic here around Temple Meads, so we've got a scooter in the middle of the road. So I'm now taking a little walk in Queen Square. It's about 10 to 7, getting on for 7 o'clock, and life is just starting to stir, which is really nice. Might get a little bit of daylight before I have to leave for the station. Obviously, because it's dark and I'm in a street environment, it's been quite challenging. I haven't been able to use the flash, so I've had to really increase the camera's shutter speed. So I really have no idea how any of these images are going to turn out once I get them onto the computer, but we'll see. We'll see if we can make something interesting of any of them. So I've just had a little look at my timings again for this morning, just to see when I needed to leave for the station. And sure enough, I actually see that I'd misread some of my timings in planning this trip, and that means that I can actually be here in Bristol around sunrise, which is what I was hoping for this morning, and still make us Temple Meads comfortably on time. So we've just hit the point of what is known as the blue hour, when the sun is just about to rise. We've got a nice, very deep blue sky. Everything is kind of at the same lighting level. You haven't got great contrast, and that's great fun time to be out photographing. So right, we're here. Let's go see what we can get. So I'm just having a little walk around Queen Square at the moment. I know the place fairly well, but not really walked around here at this time of day. It gives me a bit of a sense of where I might want to be at 0 hour, if you like. It's now 8:15, and I have decided it is high time I made my way across to Temple Meads to catch my train in about half an hour, heading down to Taunton after a very pleasant morning out here. So hopefully a bit of what I've shown this morning shows that, you know, yes, a lot of my published work is railway related. But really my interest as a photographer is really all about heritage in all its different forms, and that includes architecture and the urban scene. And that of course feeds as well into my interest in urban planning, which I'm working on for the long term.
No, I'm going to be here all day. It's
There you go, we've arrived. Starting in the present era with Fairwood Junction, west of Westbury, on the Hanson-Berks line, we continue on to Addison Road in the early 1920s, a station that is now Kensington Olympia. The pre-grouping era represents a great variety of traction and rolling stock on this unique line in London. Set in 1980s South Wales, Greg Merthyr is a branch line terminus kept alive in no small part, by the look of things, by the demand for military transportation on the railways. A little international foray comes courtesy of Norge, the best of Norway, a site not entirely unfamiliar thanks to its appearance at the Western-super-Mare Model Railway Show earlier in that year. And another familiar sight was the O-Gauge Guild's weekend yard. Modelled in 00 scale, Dorcross Bay is a fictitious layout depicting the former Great Western route into southwest England along the Dawlish seawall. The setting is in the early 2000s, when the privatisation era was well underway, and rolling stock reflects this period. Mostly Great Western and Virgin Trains cross-country services, but a few services wearing liveries from further flung parts of the country.
Moving on to the second building, which played host to the exhibition at the Taunton School, we begin with two layouts, both of which depict freight depots in the current era. First, Little Ashton, a DB Cargo / EWS depot with such interesting variety as the Royal Train and the inspection salon Caroline. Coates Lane overlooks the High Speed 1 line out of London St Pancras, so in addition to the intermodal train running in and out of the depot, we can also see the High Speed Eurostar and local domestic Southeastern High Speed services dashing along in the cutting beneath. One layout which I was rather looking forward to seeing was Rossiter Rise, a layout which had made an appearance at the Bristol Model Railway exhibition the same year. However, somehow I had managed to miss it there. It was indeed a compact layout, but it certainly made up for that in terms of the sheer variety of stock to be seen in operation. This was 1950s Britain, and change was absolutely everywhere. New architectural styles were coming to transform the urban landscape, and on the railways, steam power, which had hitherto been dominant for the previous 150 years, was giving way to more modern diesel and electric traction. Another layout of similar era and location, North Park is, well, not quite set in North London, but in South London, as the branch line terminus clearly has the electric third rail. Stepping back in time a little, Wantage Tramway depicts the town terminus of the line in the early 1920s. The line, although originally built to broad gauge, is clearly by this time operating with standard gauge. Undoubtedly for me, one of the real highlights of the exhibition was the most impressive 00 gauge hatch-in, depicting the West Coast Main Line to the northwest of London, with the Watford DC lines running alongside. The mid-1980s time period in which the layout is set allows for a real star to make an appearance: the advanced passenger train. A bit out of focus, unfortunately, but having already asked for a rerun so that I could even take the video, I wasn't especially keen on asking for another. That being said, I do kind of like the vintage feel that is given by the slightly out of focus shot, and it's still worth a bag anyway. After all that intensity, I think it's a good time to slow down the pace a little with Brixcombe, an Edwardian Great Western Railway branch line terminus. And we'll keep it that way for Blackmoor, a rural passing station on the Linton and Barnstaple Railway in Southern Railway days. Though not on the current Heritage Preserved line, I'm told that the current Linton and Barnstaple Railway does have plans to extend to the station in the future. It's now time to return again to the 1980s, but this time on Southern Region Metals, with Belvoir Park and St Denis, located on the southwestern main line west of Southampton. And a chance to see, at least in model form, one of my favourite classes of British electric multiple units, the Wessex Electrics Class 442, affectionately known as the Plastic Piggy. Modelled in O scale, Old Oxendale sidings appears to be a little less stringent with its period setting, operating stock from the 1950s through to the 1980s. More definitive in its period setting, however, is Netherwood Sidings, another familiar face thanks to the Worley National Model Railway exhibition, set on the Woodhead line in the early 1970s, very much ex-LNER DC electric locomotive traction territory. Edgware Road is another layout designed to be able to operate stock from a number of different period settings. However, at the time I got to see it, it was very much operating in the 1990s era. Toricum represents another interesting setting. A branch line terminus in North Devon. The station being closed, the line remains open purely for freight workers.
Anyway, nice to see you, mate. See you later.
So a slight change of plan this afternoon. I was always planning on leaving the Taunton Railway exhibition early to get to the Ivatt Twilight event on the East Somerset Railway. My idea being to get the bus across there, but of course me being the bright spark that I am, I didn't see that I would have needed to have got the bus on Friday afternoon to arrive by 5:30 on Saturday. So I've got the train back to Bristol, and I'm now going to get a lift down, thankfully.
Transport woes sorted, it's now time to get back into the real world at Cranmore Station on the East Somerset Railway.